So, Mavs season preview. Last year, they finished with a 42-30 record, which was good for the 5th seed in the West, which was pretty impressive given they had a not great start to the season, but last 2/3 of the season, they really went on a tear and played a lot better than they did to start the season. But in the playoffs, they lost to the Clippers in a pretty crazy 7-game series. They were up 2-0, they were up 3-2, but couldn't put them away, and, the Clippers are a very good team, and they were last year, but you feel the Mavs with how well Luka played in that series, which was just absolutely insane. If Porzingis had played a little better, if maybe their defense on Kawhi had been a little better, or the shooting was really hot. Some games it wasn't as hot. You feel they could have got to the second round, but they didn't. This offseason, they named Jason Kidd as the new head coach, as Rick Carlisle, I believe they fired him and he went to the Pacers, which Kidd, he's had 1 or 2 head coaching jobs. The main one was in Milwaukee, where did some good things in terms of putting the ball in Giannis's hands, and some less good things between maybe his defense wasn't great and things like that. So we'll see how it works out with the Mavs. They traded Josh Richardson for Moses Brown, which I thought was a good deal, given Josh Richardson accepted his player option when they probably didn't want him to. They also signed Reggie Bullock to a 3-year, $30 million deal, and they re-signed Tim Hardaway Jr. and extended Luka Doncic. So overall for the Mavs, not a massive offseason, but decent, all right. They could also still trade for Goran Dragic, which has been a possibility that has been brought up many times. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, if I think of a projected starting lineup, Luka, of course, last season averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists. He's just amazing, isn't he? In the Olympics, in the playoffs, no matter where, no matter when, he's always great, and, they're just going to have to build around him. They did well to get him to sign the extension, but, players like Luka aren't going to stick around forever. So the Mavs should be pretty focused on building around him and, looking to win now. I think with Luka, if there was any improvements, maybe the 3-point shot, only at about 35%. I know he takes a ton of tough ones, but if you could get that a bit higher, apart from that, I don't know. He's just so good. He's the favorite for MVP. I don't think he's a bad bet. Luka is amazing. At the 2, Tim Hardaway Jr. averaged 17 points last season, 39% from 3. I think Tim Hardaway is pretty important to this team. He was at times their second best player last year, because he is a guy who can shoot really well, but can also do some stuff off the dribble, which they don't really have too much of apart from Luka. And I think that's important. I think he will continue to be important. They signed him to a 4-year deal, in terms of spacing the floor when Luka has the ball. But, if he receives a pass, then being able to take 2 dribbles and get into a mid-range, being able to get to the rim, being able to run off ball for 3-pointers. I think these are all skills that fit well with Luka. And I think offensively, he certainly does. And he's certainly a very skilled shooter. So, I like Tim Hardaway Jr. I think, continue to be a good sort of release valve and, secondary ball handler for the Mavs should be important. At the 3, Dorian Finney-Smith, 10 points, 5 rebounds last season. He's a good 3-and-D guy. Shooting at times a little inconsistent, but got it up to 39% last season. Can guard a lot of wings. And I think he's a good player to have next to Luka. Luka is so ball dominant, and so you need 3-and-D guys alongside him. And I think Dorian Finney-Smith is a good guy to keep around because, they need his defense, because that is somewhat of an issue with Luka and Tim Hardaway Jr. as the backcourt. Neither of them is great defensively. And his shooting is also valuable. Can't do much else in terms of off the dribble and stuff like that, but good to have 3-and-D guys in the modern NBA. And in the front court, it's a bit unclear what their starting lineup could be. I've gone for Kleber and Porzingis, but could also be Dwight Powell. They could also put in Reggie Bullock as another wing player, but yeah, Kleber I've gone for. I think I like Maxi Kleber. I think he can shoot the three. I think he can defend pretty well. I think he can defend multiple positions too, in terms of maybe some of the bigger wings, but also a few centers. And, we'll see how many minutes he gets. I think, the Kleber Porzingis front court, maybe it's a little light defensively, but you'd hope that, offensively it can be great because both of them can shoot. And then defensively, I mean, it's really on Porzingis more than Kleber to improve in that area. I think Maxi Kleber is a good defender, and I think he should be starting for the Mavs. I think he's a starting caliber player. And then Porzingis, I mean, most important player in terms of his swing factor, his X factor potential. If he's healthy, which I think he is, he can be a really, really great player on both ends of the court. And when he's not, it's not great. It's a lot of taking threes that don't go in, not posting up efficiently, doing those bad turnaround mid-rangers, and then not being mobile defensively. Last season averaged 20 points and 9 rebounds, was sort of a down year for him, and you just hope that he can get back to, close to what he was in his first season with the Mavs. In terms of defensively, I think that's the big thing because that's important. If he's mobile enough to be a rim protector and to guard pick and roll, I think at his height and with his length, he can be a really tough player defensively. But if he's not mobile enough and he's sort of what he was last year, then, he's not really strong and physical enough to guard centers. He's a bit too slow-footed to guard wings, and it becomes a problem. But if he's mobile enough and he can protect the rim, then you can play him at the 5, and then that opens up possibilities offensively, because when he's at the 5, the pick and roll with Luka, he can pop, he can roll, he can shoot the 3. So I think playing the 5, it also gives them a quickness advantage on opposing centers, which can be useful in pump and go situations. Whereas if he's playing the 4 in a pick and roll with Luka, the opposition could just switch because you can have a wing player on him, because Porzingis post-ups aren't particularly efficient. So, I think Porzingis is a massive X factor for this team. Off the bench, Jalen Brunson averaged 12.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists last year. Was good in the regular season, less so in the playoffs. I like Jalen Brunson. I think he's a good ball handler, a good playmaker, or a solid playmaker, can shoot and score. I like him as a backup point guard. And also, he's going to have to be on the floor and important to the lineups when they don't have Luka, because that's a big issue for the Mavs, trying to sustain the offense without Luka. So I think their best bet is having guys like Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke out there to have enough offense. Porzingis too. Reggie Bullock, he could well start. They signed him from the Knicks. I think it's a good 3-and-D addition. Averaged 12 points last season, 41% from 3. And they needed another wing defender because Dorian Finney-Smith is really their only wing defender, maybe Maxi Kleber, but I think Bullock, he can guard guards, he can guard wings. I think gives them good versatility defensively. Offensively, he's sort of a bit limited. He couldn't really attack Trae Young in the Knicks-Hawks series, but I think he provides some three-point shooting. And, the thing is, the ball is going to be in Luka's hand like 80% of the time. Just the other 20% that you worry about a little bit. But I think Bullock, he provides defense, which is one of what the Mavs need. And then the Mavs have a ton of backup centers: Boban, Willie Cauley-Stein, Moses Brown, and Dwight Powell. So, I suspect only 2 or 3 of those will get minutes, and we'll just see who it is. I think all of them, they're a little bit different, but they sort of provide the rim running, the shot blocking, and the rim protection that the Mavs need. I think Powell probably provides the most rim running and is a good pick and roll partner with Luka. But we'll just have to see who starts. I don't think all of them will get minutes, but that'll be sort of the backup front court players. And then they sort of have a few young guys: Sterling Brown, who they signed, Tyrell Terry, Josh Green. We'll see. I think they could use one of them to break into the rotation. sort of give them, they could use, a backup small forward, power forward type player. We'll just have to see with the Mavs and their bench. I think Brunson, Bullock, and some decent front court players is an okay bench. If I think of predictions for this year, I think it really depends on how good Porzingis is, especially in the postseason, because if he's healthy and you have Luka doing Luka things, I think they're a real threat. But if he's not, then it's sort of just going to be the Luka show. I think regular season, I think they could be a decent seed. I think maybe the 4 seed, maybe even the 3 seed. But I'm gonna say Mavs 4 seed in the West, and then playoff time just depends on their health and how Porzingis is looking. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys next time.